there was a big gunfight going on to the right. It was an army group. They were in a big gunfight. We were on our way to a very high value target. So we didn't need to help those guys out. And we come around the corner and I look over, we're sitting in the back of Humvees, like they're pickup trucks. They're guys inside, and then we're 4 guys outside, like sitting in the bed like of a pickup truck. And I see this Iraqi police officer. These are not the same police officers like we have in the United States. They're very tribal. They're very loyal to their tribe, not to the government or anything else. Okay. And so we come around the corner, and I know there's a big gunfight over here, and he gets on the phone and he calls, and I'm like, that is not a good plan. Like, something about that is not right. I feel like I should shoot him, but I didn't. Maybe someone else will shoot him. Maybe someone else would, I don't know. And about 90 seconds later, an IED blows up approximately 10 feet away from us. And then it just missed us. It was an EFP, an explosive force penetrator. So it's a shape charge. It's a copper, like a Chinaman's hat from those old, Kung Fu movies. Mm-hmm. And it's a cone shaped. And what happens, you pack explosives behind it, and then it turns into this shape charge, and it cuts through any armor pretty much on the planet.
Holy crap.
And it's like whole molten magma, copper just cutting through everything.
Wow.
And it just missed the back of the vehicle that I was in.
With no limitations, what does your perfect day look like? What if it's possible to live like that every day? Would you wake up after 9 a.m., have perfect health, maybe fire your boss, have the money and freedom to do what you love most? The world is your oyster. Where would you be? Who would you be with? The possibilities are endless. Whether you believe it's possible for you or not, you can make more, work less, and live free. Welcome to Freedom Hack Radio, where entrepreneur, best-selling author, world traveler, and adventurer Bryce Robertson and special guests crack the code on money, health, relationships, spirituality, and having fun doing what you love most. Be inspired to create your own self-designed freedom lifestyle.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Hack Radio. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson, and today, my friends, we are going to get naked with the naked warrior, William Branum. William is the founder and CEO of Naked Warrior Recovery, a CBD company focused on the recovery of veterans and first responders. He's a retired Navy SEAL with 26 years of service. He has served in both traditional SEAL teams, taught as a SEAL sniper instructor, and served on teams that specialized in undersea operations whose missions must be approved by the President of the United States. After retiring from the military in 2018, William realized he was suffering from physical, psychological symptoms that negatively impacted his well-being and quality of life. Migraines, severe anxiety, chronic pains, difficulty focusing, difficulty sleeping, falling asleep, and depression are some of the symptoms he struggled with on a daily basis. And like so many others, he used alcohol and prescription drugs to mask the symptoms he had. Then he discovered CBD, and it changed his life. It has had such an impact on him. He started Naked Warrior Recovery to bring the highest quality products to the market and to teach the Get Naked mindset. William, welcome to Freedom Hack Radio, brother.
Thank you for having me here. Like, I love your energy. Like, you just started off like, boom, let's go. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I got to bump it up, mate. I know we're in a good energy here today. Get it together, brother. So a place I always love to start, man, is what's giving you the most gratitude today, mate?
You know what? Just waking up in the morning gives me a lot of gratitude. Any day that I wake up and put my feet on the floor is a good day. So that's the best way to start.
Beautiful. What time do you start, mate, by the way?
I start well, it depends on the day and if I have calls early in the morning, but I'm usually a 6 a.m. kind of guy. Get up at 6.
Okay.
Generally, I live about a 10-minute walk from the beach here in Hawaii. I walk to the beach and I do about a mile run on the beach, and then I walk home. So that's how I start my day generally. Then I get some coffee and do some other stuff and then, start doing email and things like that. But yeah, that's how I start my day. It's getting, the sun's rising a little bit earlier. So I'm going to bump that back to 5:30 because I'd like to get out just before the sun rises and then watch the sun while I run, on the beach.
You like to beat the sun every morning?
I like to.
Beautiful. That's awesome, man.
I don't like getting up early. I hate that. I am not a morning person, but the gratitude that I have by getting up and going out there and like just seeing like the beauty of the world is like that's worth the suffering of getting out of bed in the morning.
Do you think that's like the hurdle that got you over that? Because that's something I've kind of struggled with, because I had to get up early when I used to have a job. Then I became financially free, and then I just like sleep in, right? And then sometimes I get up for certain meetings and whatnot, but I've never been able to stick to be getting up early in the morning. What gets you juiced, dude? Is it like being outside in nature and like feeling the fresh air and seeing the sun come up?
I think that's it. I mean, my entire life, my entire military career, I hated getting up early. I hated it. I got out of the military, and we talked about it a little bit in the intro. You know, I was suffering. I'm like, I don't need to get up. I don't need to get up. I don't want to get up. Now I want to get up. I have that desire to get up and start the day and start crushing the day, because, you know, the way I start the day is, you know, kind of how I finish today. And that's really how I start the next day. So it's just, I just had a change in mindset. I had a change in, like, I'm getting up for me now. It's not for someone else. It's not for, you know, a job. It's not for whatever. I'm getting up for me. And once I was able to figure that out for my own self, it made all the difference.
I might try going for a run in the mornings and trying to beat the sun myself and have that experience. And switching it up.
It helps. Like, I don't just get up and start running. It's like, because it's about 3/4 of a mile to the beach. And so it's about a 10-minute walk. So I'm pretty warmed up, and then I get to the beach, I shirt off and flip-flops, you know, off to the side, and then, you know, a nice little jog, get my body warmed up and a little sweat on, and then walk home and like a little cool down. So, and then I start coffee.
Freedom. You've inspired me, mate. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. Sounds good. So
awesome.
I'm pretty interested. What impactful relationships or events had an impact on you in your childhood that shaped the years to follow?
I think, you know, I grew up poor. My family had not a lot of money. My dad was, he was retired from the Navy, but he didn't go very far. Then he was a truck driver, and then he had some accident, and his right bicep completely disintegrated, and he couldn't grow it back. It was a crazy thing. So he was, you know, disabled. But, you know, I watched a lot of like Kung Fu theater, because we had 3 channels when I was growing up. So like Kung Fu theater or John Wayne movies. And I think those had an impact on me. You know, number one, I wanted to be a ninja when I grew up. I'm still working on that one.
That's awesome.
And, but you know, someone told me about, I was heavily involved in the Boy Scouts. I was an Eagle Scout, and I met a kid that, you know, he said when he grows up, he wants to be a Navy SEAL and an F-14 fighter pilot, F-14 Tomcats from the movie Top Gun.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. I want to do that too. And what is a Navy SEAL? And he explained that to me. And then eventually I joined the Navy and went down that road.
Boom, man. And what is it like? You know, we've seen a lot of movies on like Navy SEALs in the military, and I don't know how much of that is like Hollywood or like fluffed up, or how much is truth. Like, what's it really, really like in the day in a life of a Navy SEAL?
It depends everything ebbs and flows. You know, in the traditional SEAL teams, there's a 24-month cycle. So let's just say we go to 6 months of professional development. We go to sniper school, breacher school, jump master school, dive maintenance, diving supervisor school. We go to all these schools, or maybe like other special operations kind of schools, just for our professional development, to give us the qualifications to do the things that we need to do in the platoon as a SEAL when we're deployed. Then we do 6 months of what we call unit level training. And we're on the road pretty much almost the whole time, where we learn how to do land warfare stuff. We learn how to navigate in the woods with a map and a compass without a GPS. People forget how to do that. We learn how to be in a gunfight and learn how to shoot, move, and communicate. You know, we start with, you know, maybe 4 guys, and then we will open that up. And like over time of the few weeks of training, we'll have 40 men out there in a field, shooting, moving, and communicating. And this is a very dangerous block of training, especially when you get more people, and then you're doing it at night with just lasers and night vision, and you have, you know, targets shooting back at you with just flames to simulate, you know, actual bad guys. And then being able to maneuver forces, teaching the leadership how to not engage the target, because if they're shooting the target, then they're not actually leading. So I like to say that leaders get no bullets, because if I see one of my leaders shooting at a target, that means he's not looking at his team, not looking at what the bad guys are doing, nor is he looking at the terrain to figure out what the next call should be. So we go through that block of training. We learn how to drive vehicles off-road. We learn how to do close quarters combat. We'll start very, very basic. No matter how seasoned the guys are, we'll start back with just 2 guys going into a center fed room. And then we'll go up to very advanced, multiple people going into a room, multiple targets, multiple scenarios, cold hits, go to scenarios where we've never been before, buildings, maybe a different town, and learn every aspect of that. We learn urban warfare. We learn, what else do we learn? We learn a lot, combat swimmer diving, where we dive on a rebreather. So there's no bubbles. You can be underwater for up to 4 hours.
Wow.
Never breaking the surface, not a bubble touching going to the surface, and then go into an area, placing a package on whatever we need to do, and then navigating our way back out underwater using only a compass, a depth gauge, and a watch. And so that's 6 months of training. Then we go to more we call it situational training. Where are we going to deploy? Are we going to Africa? Are we going to Iraq, Afghanistan, South America, somewhere else in the world? Then we do more mission specific training for that. And then we deploy for 6 months. And so that's the day in the life of a Navy SEAL.
Wow, man.
More or less.
That's some adventure right there, dude. And I'm sure obviously there's like the hard physical aspect to that. I'm assuming maybe the psychological part may even be like harder. Like how were you grounding yourself daily from a psychological perspective to be able to keep your shit together while you're actually in these scenarios? I'm sure it's really fucking exciting and like a little bit overwhelming sometimes, probably.
It's very overwhelming, and it's not quite as sexy as I make it sound. A lot of it is very hard. But you're there as a team, you're there as a platoon or a task unit or whatever we're calling the team that day. And, you have older guys, you have guys you've been around for a little while, and then you have brand new guys. And so there's just a lot of mentorship that's happening and dynamics that happen along the way. So the senior and middle guys are really training and helping bring up the new guys and teaching them the tactics, the techniques, and the procedures, what's expected of them. And what's cool about that kind of dynamic is if a senior guy, let's see me as a senior guy, I'm not like quite feeling it today, and I'm not performing at the level that I need to, and I've got this junior guy I've been like kind of riding him pretty hard, and he's like, "What's up? You can't keep up with me today?" Oh, well, okay, right on. And so it's a very healthy kind of dynamic that happens out there, and a little bit of competition, and so that helps keep things real, keep things fun as well.
Competition. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talking about fun and excitement, what's one of the most exciting things that happened when you're a Navy SEAL?
Ooh, let's see. It's a good question. I mean, I got to do a lot of fun stuff. I also had to do a lot of like admin stuff, which is never fun, but I always, I would do all the admin stuff and then get to go jump out of airplanes or get to go, just like, I think the most gratifying thing is me as a senior guy doing some of that mock gunfight, like you're just like, just like chaos happening on the battlefield. And I get to sit in there next to a brand new leader and help develop that leader. I'll say, listen, I'm not going to make any calls. I'm never going to question anything that you say. But I'm just here in case you get stuck. And I give you he has all the training that he needs, but sometimes they get stuck. They get kind of overwhelmed with so many things going on, and they know they're not supposed to engage the target, but they're like, what? And they kind of get stuck on what call they should make. So maybe we're in some sort of a gunfight, and he's not making the decision that he needs to. And I already know what the call should be because I was already analyzing the area before the contact happened. And I'll say something like, what do you think about that piece of terrain right there? And if he still doesn't, what do you think about, us moving around that terrain and outmaneuvering the enemy? And then it registers, and then they make the call that they're supposed to make, and we move. And then the next time he's in a scenario like that, he already has a little more information. And so doing things like that are very gratifying. Really, I like to say that leadership is really about training your replacement. You should work yourself out of a job. And so those were things that were very, very gratifying in the SEAL teams in kind of a leadership perspective. Another thing that happened, I remember on a deployment, I was in a admin position as an operations guy. We were in Fallujah. The task unit was going out. They needed more bodies. And I'm like, oh, I'll go with you over here. So yeah, we'll take you, old staff guy, old used up guy. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'll be the security guy. I don't need to, I just want to go out on missions. And I remember we secured a target, but we needed to take down some other buildings. And so we wrapped up a bunch of guys outside, handed them off to some Marines. And then us security guys, us older guys, us admin guys, went and we took over some other buildings. And I remember the guy that was in front of me, he did the workup. He did that whole 18 months of training before we deployed with the platoon, because he was working with the platoon and I didn't. I was just the operations guy. I was making sure all the logistics were done for everything, but I did the last workup. I did the last deployment. And I know that we changed some tactics, techniques, and procedures back there. And so I'm behind him and it was just me and him. And so we're clearing this whole building ourselves. So I give him a squeeze and I say, oh, it's just us. And I give him the squeeze and he goes in, we start clearing. And then we go to an area. It's very easy to do just one person goes left, one person goes right. But then there's a scenario where maybe it's a wider door and then two people can go at the same time. And there is a very specific nonverbal communication that takes place. I didn't know if they had changed the tactics, techniques, or procedures for this nonverbal cue to just say, all right, let's both go at the same time or not. He didn't know if I knew that because they covered it because I didn't do the whole workup. And so we're sitting there, we're both holding on an area, on a room. We're both waiting to go in. And I'm like, we're waiting too long. I can say, tell him what to do, or I can just see if he knows what I'm talking about with my nonverbal cue. And so I gave him a barrel nod. He gave it back to me. And then we cleared the room and we went on and did our thing and finished clearing the building. And later on, I heard from my boss, he was like, I heard you were the man out there tactically and on that, on that last mission. I was like, who said that? And then I realized, oh, it was the guy that I was clearing that building with, because I initiated the nonverbal comms that he didn't even think I knew, because he was thinking the same thing as me. Does he know what to do if I do this, this barrel nod? And I was like, he's, more senior. He did the last workup. I'm going to go off his lead. And so that was very kind of gratifying as well. Yeah, that's right. The old guy still has it.
Nice, mate. What was the most peculiar situation you found yourself in when you're like, how the heck did we get in this kind of situation?
There was a time in Iraq. I did a lot of stuff in Iraq. There was a big gunfight going on to the right. It was an army group. They were in a big gunfight. We were on our way to a very high value target. So we didn't need to help those guys out. And we come around the corner and I look over, we're sitting in the back of Humvees, they're pickup trucks. There are guys inside, and then we're four guys outside, sitting in the bed of a pickup truck. And I see this Iraqi police officer. These are not the same police officers like we have in the United States. They're very tribal. They're very loyal to their tribe, not to the government or anything else. Okay. And so we come around the corner, and I know there's a big gunfight over here, and he gets on the phone and he calls, and I'm like, that is not a good plan. Something about that is not right. I feel like I should shoot him, but I didn't. Maybe someone else will shoot him. Maybe someone else would, I don't know. And about 90 seconds later, an IED blows up approximately 10 feet away from us. And then it just missed us. It was an EFP, an explosive force penetrator. So it's a shape charge. It's a copper, like a Chinaman's hat from those old, Kung Fu movies. Mm-hmm. And it's a cone shaped. And what happens, you pack explosives behind it, and then it turns into this shape charge, and it cuts through any armor pretty much on the planet.
Holy crap.
And it's whole molten magma, copper just cutting through everything.
Wow.
And it just missed the back of the vehicle that I was in. And then about 30 seconds later, the next one went off and it just missed us. And the only reason that it missed us is because we drive like idiots when we're on the road. We drive as fast as we possibly can. We drive blacked out, but this time we were under street lights, so it didn't matter. People were shooting at us. And I was like, how are we in this position? I should have shot that guy. And I'm like, oh my God, I should have whatever. It is what it is now. So we're getting shot at from up here, and there's still a gunfight going on over here. IEDs are blowing up, it just barely missing us by just a foot. And then one of the guys that was in the back of the truck, so it was 4 guys in the back, 3 senior guys and a very junior guy who only has 1 deployment. And he was like, so fellas, do you think maybe we should like get a little lower in the back of the truck? We were all like, yep, you're right, new guy, we're going to do what you say. And like, we all got down and we're scanning, looking for people shooting at us, but we couldn't see them because we were under lights and we can't see outside into the darkness because the street lights were blinding our night vision. So that was not an awesome place to be.
Wow, that's pretty wild, dude. Crazy stuff, man. So I love your shirt there, mate. Get naked. I know you've got a get naked mindset. Now I'm Australian, so my get naked mindset is probably having a couple of beers, ripping my clothes off and running around like a hooligan. You got a different one.
You can do
that too. So apart from doing that, mate, do you want to unpack the get naked mindset?
Yeah. So when I retired from the military, and it actually started really before I retired from the military, I got a lot of baggage. I don't call it PTSD. I just call it baggage because some of it it's crap that I carry around. Some of it I put in my bags, and some of it other people have tried to put in my bags, whether it was stuff through work, stuff through, not awesome relationships, maybe some toxic relationships that I've been in, and they just continue to try and put their crap into my bag, and I end up carrying it around. Or another way that I think about it is, I'm always carrying around this armor, this ego, because I feel like I'm always under attack. And, I felt like that, really towards the end of my career and after I had retired. And so I was drinking a lot of booze, a lot of vodka was my drink of choice, to turn the noise down. I had a lot of noise in my head, just to turn that noise down so that I could go to sleep at night. And what I found is, I would drink until I got tired enough to go to sleep. But the other way, if you frame that differently, I was drinking until I passed out at night. That's not a very healthy way to like go through life or live whatever, or even start the next day, and try and perform at a high level. And so what I had to figure out was a way to turn that noise down. And so a friend of mine, I had heard of this molecule called CBD, and CBD was, it was still illegal when I had heard about it. So I wasn't really willing to try it, but I eventually tried it after I retired, after it became federally legal in the United States. And I like to say that it just turned the noise down enough for me to like turn off that negative self-talk so that I could control some of the positive self-talk. And that what I did with that positive self-talk is I came up with what I like to call the get naked mindset. And when I say get naked, I mean, like, I don't mean physically naked, but you can totally do that after a couple of beers and run around, totally fine. I like to do that myself, but I mean, it's like, it's really about taking that armor off, that ego off that you're carrying around. Take that baggage off that you've just been carrying around all this time that's just weighing you down. Because, in the SEAL teams, when we go into harm's way, we put our armor on, and sometimes it helps us out, it saves our lives. Other times it wasn't really necessary. But when we come back off that mission, we take the armor off, and then we get naked, hit the showers. And we don't do that in our regular life. We just keep wearing that armor around, when we get home, when we go to bed, when we get up in the morning, we're just like, continue to wear this. And so what Get Naked is about, it's about taking that ego off, taking that armor off, kind of exposing yourself, being a little bit vulnerable so you can find the healing that you need. Because we all suffer from something at some point in our life. Maybe it's something that happened to us as a child. Maybe it's something that has just happened, little things over time that has made us defensive. And so we never take that armor off. We never find that, time to be a little bit vulnerable. And so that's really like the get naked mindset. But what I also was able to do is I turned naked into an acronym. And so it's really a way to live your life. It's what I like to call 5 SEAL secrets of how to improve your life. And so naked is an acronym. The N stands for never quit. And I don't mean never quit smoking or drinking or anything like that. I mean, never quit on yourself, never quit trying to improve who you are or where you're trying to go. The A is accept failure, because failure has been the biggest teacher of my life. I don't learn a lot of things when I'm doing things right. I learn mostly through failure. Yeah, I know you told me not to do that, but I had to do it to find out why not. So accept failure and use that failure as a foundation for your success. The K is kill mediocrity, because let's face it, we are at war every day with mediocrity. The media wants us to be mediocre. Technology wants us to be mediocre. They want us to be dependent on them. And, if you think about how many times you have made excuses to not do what you've promised yourself. How many times have you decided not to get up, not to work out, not to attack your goals for the day? Those are the times we become mediocre. And so the way I say, to kill mediocrity in your life is to compete. And I mean, compete in kindness, compete in generosity, compete in gratitude. And once you learn to compete, then start competing against your ego, because your ego knows exactly what to tell you to make you mediocre. It knows your strengths and your weaknesses. So that's killing mediocrity. The E is expose your fears. And I don't mean lions and tigers and bears. I mean the fears that live in the back part of your brain that you don't want to share with anyone. Those fears, those thoughts, those stresses, those anxieties that come out when you are, alone in your car, when you're, sitting up at night, trying to go to bed, and all this noise starts happening in your head. Those thoughts, those stresses, those fears that come out and wake you up from your sleep. And so, there's lots of ways to do that. You can do talk therapy. You can do things that scare you, like maybe take Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or you have a little fear of water, take swimming lessons, maybe learn how to surf. If you have a fear of climbing, go take a mountain climbing class, or, a climbing class, or something like that. But, one of the things that a friend of mine likes to say is, he says that fear does not exist on paper. And so what he'll do is, when he has all those stresses and anxieties sort of consuming him, is he'll pull over, he'll go to a Starbucks, he'll order a cup of coffee, and he'll get a pen and a piece of paper, and he'll write down all of those thoughts, all of those stresses onto a piece of paper, and then he'll read them. And he'll read them. He's like, really? That little thing is really what's bothering me. That's what's giving me all the stress and anxiety. And so what I like to say is, if you expose your fears, you start to control the fears, and your fears no longer control you. And then lastly, the D is to do the work, because, in today's society of instant gratification, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, we've forgotten what it's like to do work, what it takes to get to really truly an end goal. And so, in the SEAL teams we have, and I was talking to someone earlier today about this, or maybe I was actually talking to you just a little bit ago. In the SEAL teams, you're expected to perform better today than you did yesterday. You're always expected to get a little bit better every single day. And that's why they say that the only easy day was yesterday, that slogan of the SEAL teams. So that's, you're doing the work. And there's this phrase out there that says Rome wasn't built in a day. Oftentimes people use that as an excuse. It's going to take, I don't know, I'm not really feeling it today. Well, I guarantee you that Rome was built every single day until it became an empire. And so that's really what the get naked mindset is about. It's about taking that ego off, setting in the corner, being vulnerable, but it's also about never quitting, accepting failure, kill mediocrity, expose your fears, and do the work. And I have like a whole big keynote that I give on that. As you can see, I'm pretty passionate about that. And so I'm going to stop there. I'll pause there and turn it back over to you.
Oh man, it's like, it's fucked up that that's not being taught in our schools, like imagine if this was actually being taught in our schools and people were actually prepared for life, beyond like math and, English.
Right. It's funny that you just said that, because I gave my keynote presentation at an event in California in January, a couple months ago. And that was exactly the question that someone in the crowd said, why is this not being taught in school? It's like, that's a great question. It should be.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I had a stab at answering that question, I think the powers that be want people to be mediocre, so they can fit into the workforce and everything like that. So we have to go against the stream and step outside and step up. So one of the 100%. Things you talked about, mate, was being vulnerable. And, for some people, that's probably easier than others. I'm assuming to approach that kind of quality is probably, almost unheard of, or a little bit more challenging with Navy SEALs and yes. Military people. So like, do you have like an icebreaker, or how do you approach that?
That's, that was probably one of my hardest things to do so I grew up poor. So I always felt like I had to prove and made fun of as a kid. I was called poor white trash and all this other stuff. And now I'm like, look at me now. But that's a different conversation. But it was really hard for me. I didn't want to, I never wanted to show that I didn't know how to do something. And I was I barely got through high school. I was not a good student. I was not a good athlete either. So I was always had to work a little bit harder than someone else. And I never, ever wanted to show any sort of weakness or anyone to think that I couldn't do something. Even if I didn't know how to do it, I was still going to try to do it and to the best of my ability and better than what I even thought I could do. But there was a leader in the SEAL teams that I respected a lot. And one day he said, I'm going to go get help for some stuff that I'm struggling with. And that really caught me off guard because I was actually fearful for him in the kind of retribution that he was going to get because he showed some sort of vulnerability. He showed some kind of weakness, and I'm using air quotes there. And what I found is it actually takes so much more courage to be vulnerable than it does to be macho. Yeah. Like if you can, because that's one of the hardest things for me to do is to find the courage and the bravery to be a little bit vulnerable, to share what's bothering me, share the fact that I don't know how to do something or I need help with something. I've lived my entire life hiding the fact that I need help and I need help. And so once I've figured that out, and I can't give you like a 12-step process, but really it's finding someone that you trust, that you believe will not judge you for coming forward and sharing, hey, concerns or fears or whatever that is. And that's kind of some of that process of expose your fears, write it down, like what's bothering you, write it down and see if that helps. Maybe then share that with someone and then maybe share it with someone else and then talk about it. And that will start to like peel back the onion. And the more you do it, the braver you will become. Because if action, what's the phrase? It's something like action alleviates anxiety. So oftentimes, because you're not taking action, you're becoming more anxious about it. And that I think that phrase is really meant for doing work and maybe starting something that you're afraid to start. But that also I think applies here, where to me, sharing my vulnerabilities, being vulnerable to someone is absolutely terrifying. But the more I do it, like I never wanted to tell anyone that I had, all this baggage and noise in my head. I would just like take care of myself with booze. But once I was brave enough to share some of it with someone, it became a little bit easier every time I did. And even like doing these podcasts, I'm putting it out there. People can judge me, and that's okay. If you want to judge me, awesome. If you want to think better of me, awesome. If I can help one person by being a little bit vulnerable, I win. I don't care what kind of judgment I get. So that's kind of where I come from. But it took me a long time to get there. Like to say that I couldn't handle my shit was not an easy road to go down.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, man. I've actually done a little bit of like men's group work, especially recently. And some of the things I think is interesting is like there's an opportunity to be vulnerable in that kind of environment. Number one, to be vulnerable, but like you were saying, it's very freeing. It's like releasing a load of fucking weight, and it actually feels very free just to express some shit. The other thing is that when you're in a group of other people and a few people are going to be vulnerable, it's like everybody's got shit, everybody's got stuff, and you're not alone, and that's an interesting thing. And I think the third thing is I also believe in the law of reciprocity, that for someone to give, someone has to be able to receive, and for someone to receive, someone has to give. And when someone's vulnerable, it's an opportunity for other people to step up and help mentor them too. And like you said, that was like one of the most gratifying parts of you being a Navy SEAL, mentoring other people. Yes. So it's a pretty beautiful cycle that can really happen there.
And then someone told me once upon a time, because I was as I started being vulnerable about, I'm afraid to ask for help. I've asked for help, but, just kind of sharing. And someone said, well, how good do you feel when someone asks you for help? I feel pretty good about that. Like I help them. Well, why are you taking that joy away from someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a completely different way to look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, give people that, if you think you might need help, ask for it, because people are waiting and willing to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the biggest takeaways you had from the military, brother?
Gosh, there's a lot. That whole the whole get naked mindset is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about earlier, I hated getting up in the morning my entire life, but now I do. And the reasons for it are a lot of the reasons for, getting up early and working out in the military is you get up, you start the day with a workout under your belt. You start the day before everyone else. You start the day and you start getting after it right away. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't like that. I didn't think about that when I was in the military. I'm like, oh, we just have to get up and do it. I don't want to do it. But, developing that habit of discipline to get up, that habit of integrity, I put a post, and actually I heard someone else say it. It's not my direct quote. But it was, discipline is the action of integrity. And integrity is, the definition that I grew up with my entire life was doing the right thing, even when no one is looking.
Yeah.
And so, but there was another side of that, which is, the doing integrity is in being a whole person, being a whole, doing everything completely. So if you have something and you don't have in this little, this mouse that I have here, if it's the pieces aren't integrated properly, if there's not good integrity there, it's not going to work properly. And so I've taken that lesson and sort of incorporated it into my life. And I also do coaching now, where I'm helping, high performing CEOs and other leaders in small and medium sized businesses figure that out in their own life. And so, I've created some courses and some other things that I teach, where I teach people, life transitions. And really the way that I break that down is 5 SEAL secrets of life transitions. And it's really, it's about creating a plan. It's about briefing the plan, sharing that plan with someone. What do you want to do? Do you want to change your job? Do you want to start a company? Do you want to, and then doing what we call a dirt dive or a rock drill. And the more that I've incorporated this into my own life and helped other people incorporate it into their lives, the ROI on it has been exponential. And what I mean by that is, let's just say, before we would go do a mission, we would give the mission brief, and then we would go out and we would practice the mission before we actually did the mission. So we would go get our comms, our headsets on, our radios. We don't need guns or anything else, but we might load up, get in the vehicles exactly like we're going to sit in them when we're driving to target. Sit in the vehicles. Okay, the vehicles pull up, they drive 10 feet, and then they pass over, the radio. Okay, get out. And then we all get out, and then we walk 10 feet, and then we're just going through the missions, because there's transitions from, being on our base, to being in the bad guy land, transitioning from inside the vehicle to outside the vehicle, transitioning from outside the target to inside the target building, from inside the target building to back to the vehicles. All of those transition points, those are points where we're vulnerable in life. But if we go through those and we practice those transitions, no matter what it is, you're doing something in your company, you're starting a new thing, you're going to buy a new piece of real estate, you're going to do whatever. Let's talk about the what ifs. What if something happens during this part of the mission? What if something happens during this part of the deal? What if? Then when we actually execute the plan, whatever it is, then when those what if things happen, because Murphy always has a vote, then we have at least an idea of how we're going to adjust the mission according to those, contingencies that we talked about and we practiced during that dirt dive phase. And then when we're done, we do an after action review, and we like what worked and what didn't work, and the things that didn't work we get rid of and we don't do those anymore. We document it, and then the things that worked we incorporate back into our plan. So those transition points are the points where we're vulnerable, not in a good way, but in a bad way. So we want to have a plan or some sort of contingency idea of how to navigate those, when things go bad during those transition points. And we have transition points every day in our life. Even if you think about like getting up and going to work, you get up, you do whatever you do, you transition from inside your house to inside of your car. You're vulnerable right there because you're looking at your phone, you're doing whatever, you got your coffee and your bagel and your whatever. Then you're transitioning from, your driveway out into the street. Did you really look both ways, or were you on the phone? Going to your office, parking lots. There's so many transitions that happen in parking lots, and then into the office, and then back out, and then back home. All these are just little mini transition points where bad things can happen to you. So if you're aware and you have an idea of things that could happen, you're aware of, ways to mitigate bad things from happening to you. So those are some things that I teach and I brought back from my time in the military.
You spoke about leadership before, and you were dropping some nuggets on that. What's some of the biggest takeaways that you had from leadership? What did you really learn as a leader?
I think probably some of the biggest things that I learned were that, and I have a whole course on leadership as well, but leaders don't know everything. When the leader recognizes that, and I see this in corporate America all the time, where, a salesperson, the top salesperson is crushing it. They're doing everything right. And then the company wants to elevate them to a more of a leadership role. Their zone of genius is not leadership. Their zone of genius is sales. And they get into this role of leadership and operations and they fail. And the organization's like, what happened? I thought you were awesome. You're awesome. Why are you failing? They didn't recognize that person's zone of genius is not this thing up here. And maybe that person didn't even want to be up there, and it's actually a pay cut because they were getting more money in commissions, through sales. But a lot of failures of leaders are that they act and think that they know everything, and they're afraid to ask junior personnel, how would we solve this problem? That's really one of the biggest things. And that's a beautiful thing about the SEAL teams, is the most junior guy to the most senior guy, everyone has a vote. What do you think about how to do this operation? Me as a senior guy, I'm like planning it, but I'll bring the junior guy in. What do you think about how do we, what about this, scenario? What would go wrong here? And I ask them, and then they'll give me a perspective that I never considered. And I'm like, oh, that was beautiful. And we incorporate that into the mission. And so that's one of the biggest things that I think that most leaders fail in corporate America. Another beautiful thing about leadership that I like is, going back to something I talked about earlier, where leaders get no bullets. If a leader is engaging in the day-to-day operations of the organization, now it depends on the size of the organization. If there's only like a 3-person organization, the leader's going to have to do a lot of the shooting. But in that contact drill, in that mock gunfight, that when we're training on how to shoot, move, and communicate, leaders should never be shooting. They should be looking at what the enemy is doing, looking at what their opposition is doing, what the competition is doing in business. Look at what their team is doing and how they're performing. How are they positioned? How do I need to reposition the team? What's the terrain look like? What's the market? What are we looking at? What things could change? And then the leader has to make that decision and then communicate what the next move is going to be to the team. And then the team moves. And then once the team gets to the new position, trying to outmaneuver the competition, depending on the terrain, then the leader has to do what we like to call OODA loop. It's observe, orient, decide, and act, which was an acronym that was created by I believe he was an Air Force pilot in Vietnam. And every time something happens, you have to reassess what's going on around you, reassess what your team is doing, reassess what the enemy is doing. How did the competition react to your movement? And then, orient yourself to what your next move needs to be. And then you act, and then you do it all over again. And it's just a cycle. And so that's what leaders should be doing. is, talking to their junior people, communicating, and they should be making the decisions of what the organization needs to do. If they're shooting, then they're probably they're not seeing the big picture.
Yeah. Wow, man. Looking at the military, like from the outside in, it looks like a super different way to live your life, with a very different social structure, a very different culture than normal civilian life. Like, what's it like transitioning from being in the military, especially being a Navy SEAL, and then coming back to like civilian life?
So that's a great question. I like to say that my transition from the military to civilian life has been the hardest military mission that I've ever been on. And I've been on a few, and I'm still on this mission. I'm still figuring out, and it was very difficult for me because, when I was in the military, I was in the SEAL teams. I knew what my mission was. I knew what my purpose was. I knew who my team was. And when I retired, and I use air quotes as retired because, you never really, you can retire, but you can't live off that piddly income that they give you. Yeah. So you have to continue to figure out other ways to make money. And so I lost my team. I lost my purpose. I lost my mission. I lost everything. It was kind of like the analogy that I'm using most recently is the movie The Avengers, where Thanos made like half the world's population disappear with the rings and the stones and the whatever. And you're having dinner there with your family, you're engaging in conversation, and then all of a sudden everyone is gone and you're there alone by yourself. What happened? Where did everyone go? What's my purpose? What do I do now? And that was really the way that I felt. And I've talked to other high level individuals, whether they were in the military, whether they were in corporate America, and they sold their company for billions of dollars, professional athletes that have, retired out of their sport. And they're like, what do I do now? I don't have a team. I don't have a mission. I don't have a purpose. I don't know what do I do? And so it took me a long time to find that. And part of that was starting Naked Warrior Recovery, the CBD company that I have. But along with that is I've got lots of things that I'm doing now, but it took me a long time to sort of build this and figure this out. But the other kind of mission that we have at Naked Warrior Recovery is this mission of 22-0. And when I was figuring out, like, all the gurus out there that are talking about, like, what's your why? What is your purpose? And so I looked at me. First of all, I was like, we developed the highest quality CBD in the market. Okay, that's cool. But what's bigger than that? And so I looked at where I came from. I'm a veteran, and I looked at the statistics, and I found that 22 veterans take their lives every single day. We've lost more veterans to suicide than we have in 20 years of sustained combat in 2 theaters of operation.
You freaking
and then what?
Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And so what made it even more personal to me was that my dad is one of those veterans. My dad took his own life. And so our mission, so that's like in stone, like our mission is 22-0. We want to eliminate veteran suicide, and all suicide would be awesome. But we have to focus on one thing, and what we're doing for veterans, how we're helping veterans can help other people. And so we're using CBD as a modality to like help turn down the noise in their head. And then the get naked mindset is really change the way that you're thinking about the world. Never quit on yourself. Never quit. Accept the failures that you're going to experience. Kill the mediocrity. Get up in the morning and like have a purpose and go work out. Expose those fears, those things that are swirling around in the back of your head. I'm not going to job. I don't know what my purpose is. Like, let's work on and find those. But then lastly, go do the work. And so, these work in every environment, from corporate to military to mindset, across the world. And I've given this presentation, quite a few times, hoping to get on more stages and give it to more people and change the way that they think. But you can apply this to pretty much everything. And then, the other way that we're helping veterans and first responders is we're trying to support organizations that do support that transition from the military, giving them tools and techniques and services, helping, find and support nonprofits that are that, you know, that's also their mission, is to reduce or eliminate that veteran suicide through different kind of psychiatric services, or, you know, some other techniques that are kind of proprietary, if you will, to them, and, you know, giving those to veterans to, you know, again, turn down that noise, to help them find a purpose and find what their next mission is.
Man, that's huge. I can totally see how that's just driving you through, man. That's monumental, bro. That's amazing. So, you know, obviously a lot of people in the military are experiencing things like anxiety, stress, probably sleep deprivation as well. That's something that common people, civilians, are having experiences with too. What would you say some of the ways that we can help, you know, improve these things in our life?
I think, you know, a lot of it is you have to change the way that you think. And I think one of the first things that you have to do is, we wear sleep deprivation, since you mentioned that, the lack of sleep is a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is the most critical thing that you could possibly do in your life to make your life better. So I looked up once upon a time what the Guinness Book World Record was for the longest time without sleep. Do you know what that is?
The longest time without sleep.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like multiple days. Let's say like 72 hours.
No, there actually is no Guinness Book World Record for sleep deprivation, because it's an ethical issue, because what they found is, if you go too long without sleep, then it will damage your body in such a way that you will have irreparable damage to your brain and to your body. And so they're like, it's safer taking an experimental balloon up into space with a spacesuit on and then jumping and doing a skydive back into Earth. That's safer than going multiple days without sleep.
Wow.
That's crazy when you think about it like that.
Yeah, that's huge. So what do we do? How much sleep do we need? How do we get good sleep?
I think, you know, from the research that I've done, everyone is different. There are anomalies out there that can go off and not have detrimental effects with 5 hours of sleep. Other people just need more. If you're a very young person, you need 8, 10, 12 hours of sleep. If you're older, yet you might need less. But it's not so much the time of sleep, it's the quality of sleep that you get. So you'll see a lot of it's becoming a little more trendy, I guess, to have wearables like a Oura Ring or the Whoop strap or something like that, so that you can track your sleep, see how much REM sleep you get, how much, you know, deep sleep you get, how much, you know, how many hours of sleep, how much time you were awake, and things like that. So what they found is the better quality sleep is more important than the total time of sleep.
Yeah.
And I don't know like the metrics on all of those, but I wear a Whoop strap. Actually, I've modified it because I didn't like wearing two things on each wrist. So I took the Whoop strap and I wear it upside down, and then I zip tied a $15 watch from Amazon onto the back of it. So I can have a watch on my Whoop strap and only wear one device.
Styling, man. Love it. Good stuff. You know, I was looking on the Naked Warrior Recovery website. You guys have got some pretty badass CBD products on there. You've even got some dog chews on there.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk us through some of the products you guys have and how they can help us?
So I mentioned earlier that, you know, one of our original mission was to develop the highest quality CBD on the planet. And the reason for that is there's a lot of dirty players in the industry. The industry is starting to clean up, but, you know, it's still pretty dirty. And what I mean by that is once CBD became legal in the United States, after the passing of the Farm Bill of 2018, so December 20th of 2018, hemp became legal. Therefore, CBD became legal if it came from the hemp plant. Mm-hmm. And so the FDA, you know, a couple years later, they went out and did a bunch of spot checks on products in the industry. And they found that most products, more than 70%, either didn't have the CBD they said they had in them. They didn't have CBD in them. They had high levels of heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, lead, things like that. Jeez. They had maybe high, outside the 0.3% or less THC. So that means that it did not come from the hemp plant. It came from a different plant. Yeah. It had, herbicides, pesticides, things like that. And if you're taking CBD to be I'm going to use air quotes here, not medical advice, but if you're taking it as a medicine, something to make your life better and make your body better, then you don't want to be putting a bunch of toxins and poisons and crap in your body. You're defeating the purpose. And so, people were like taking these hemp plants or the cannabis plant, and they were, extracting the CBD with like turpentine in their third bedroom or in their garage or whatever, and then trying to sell it. And so what we've done is we've partnered with suppliers that we do a third-party independent lab, third-party testing of the oil that is extracted from the plant, and then to make sure that it is what it is and says what it says and is what it's supposed to be, and then we put that into we put it through a manufacturing process where we develop the tinctures with the oil that you put under your tongues, topicals, maybe gummies, pet treats. I have a CBD energy drink, other topicals. And then we test the final product to make sure that the final product has what we say that it has in it, and there was no contamination during the manufacturing process. We're one of the few companies that does that. And so the products that we have, everything has a QR code on it. So you can scan the QR code. I don't know if you can see that or if this will be video. And then, input the lot number of the product that you have, and it'll show you the exact lab results of everything that we test. But yeah, again, we have soft gels. We have a sleep product it has 25 milligrams of CBD in it. It has 3 milligrams of CBN, which is another minor cannabinoid from the hemp plant. So the hemp plant has over 120 minor cannabinoids: CBD, THC, CBN, CBG, all these other, and terpenes, which are essential oils. And there's a whole industry out there about essential oils, but the hemp plant has all these essential oils in it. And they're in the product. And so what we sell mostly is I forgot where I was going with that, but we sell mostly a broad spectrum product because some people are not cool with the molecule THC. So we extract that molecule THC out, but we maintain all the other minor cannabinoids and terpenes in the hemp plant. Oh, I know what I was saying. CBN. CBN is one of those minor cannabinoids, and it's the sedative molecule from the hemp plant. And so that's one of my favorite products because I have a hard time going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I wake up a bunch of times at night because, I will start sleeping. I'll get tired, and then I'll be stupid and I'll like work on something, or I'll watch a video, and then I'll push through that tired point and I'm like, get my second wind. And then I can't go to sleep until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So when I take that product, I take two at night, about an hour before I'm ready to go to bed. I'll get tired. And then if I go to those bad habits of like watching stuff or trying to work on stuff, I can never push through that tired point. And at some point I'm like, okay, you're right. Go to bed, stupid. And I'll go to bed and I'll sleep and get up at 6 in the morning and start all over again, or 5, depending on what's going on. But yeah, so we also have a CBD energy drink. Again, this is not medical advice. It has 12.5 milligrams of CBD, 75 milligrams of caffeine, like a cup of coffee. And I had someone reach out to me and say, this product helped me get off my Adderall. It helped me, like I have the focus that I need throughout the day to get things done, and I don't have the jitters at the end of the day. I was like, that is awesome. Yeah. I'm not making that claim at all, but it was cool to get that kind of feedback. So we've got a host of, I think, about 12 different products to choose from. We've got gummies if in the event that you can't swallow. So Josh, who introduced us, he can't swallow a pill. And so he actually takes the sleep soft gels and he'll like chew them up and then swallow the oil that way. But you can also take gummies if you can't swallow.
It's amazing stuff, man. CBD is like just it's pretty phenomenal. I actually got introduced to some topical CBD. I actually had some moles on my arms that were starting to go a little bit funky, starting to change color and change shape. And I put some topical on there, and just like on a band-aid, and I kept changing it out every couple of days. And then after a couple of weeks, like literally no mole there at all. And I've done that to like 4 different moles all over my body. But like, you know, awesome. CBD is like, it's checking the boxes ethically for me, because the pharmaceutical industry has just brought a lot of really fucked up shit to the table over the last however many decades. So many people are like hooked on Prozac, and they're like stuck on it for the rest of their life. And there's just like, there's way too much in the pharmaceutical industry. And to start to bring these more natural products back into the scene, I just think it's an amazing thing that you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, and some people have said, well, you know, CBD is not FDA certified. So I have a couple things to say about that. Cigarettes are FDA certified. Does that mean you want to smoke? I mean, that's a question. But you also want it. But if you're going to choose CBD, you want to make sure you have a high quality product. And someone asked me once upon a time, what's the difference between? And you can find CBD everywhere. There's a CBD store on like every street corner of everywhere. But you want to make sure that you're getting a high quality product. And what I mean by that, someone asked me once upon a time, what's the difference between your CBD and the CBD that I can get in the gas station down the road? And I wish this was my answer, but the guy that was standing next to me said, well, let me ask you this. What's the difference between the sushi that you get in a sushi house and the sushi that you get at that gas station down the road in somewhere in Tennessee? Yeah. Do you really want to roll the bones with gas station sushi? Why would you roll the bones with gas station CBD? Yeah, man. And so that is really still a lot of bad actors out there. There's some good companies out there, but there's still a lot of bad ones. And so just make sure that you get a good quality product.
Apart from
especially if you're going to put it in your body.
Getting products from Get Naked, like how would we know? Like how does the normal person know if they're getting like good quality CBD?
There should be the certifications of acceptance. Should be on their website. There should be current certificate, like that third-party independent lab, third-party testing should be somewhere on their website. And again, from us, we put QR codes on all of our products, so you can go and like look at the lot number and see where and what you're actually getting when you get that bottle or tube or whatever of CBD.
Beautiful, love it. Bringing good quality to the table. So, what's got you most excited over the next 12 months, mate?
I am trying to get on as many stages as possible to really talk about the Get Naked mindset and share that with as many people as possible, and then pick up a few coaching clients along the way.
Have you thought about doing a TED Talk?
I have, actually. Yeah. And if you can help get me on that one TED stage, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that
I'm not afraid to ask for help.
There you go. Well, you could do it naked too, man.
I could.
Beautiful. So, yeah,
I may have to blur that part out though. I don't know if they'll let me on stage like that.
What's one piece of advice that you could leave our freedom hackers with, mate?
Oh, let's see. I think make bold adjustments. If you are struggling with something in your life, if you're just kind of stuck, you need to make a bold adjustment. And what I mean by that is, going back to when I was teaching sniper, I was a sniper instructor. I was a sniper in the SEAL teams. And as a sniper, when we start that workup all over again, maybe we get new guns or new guys come in, new leadership comes in, and they need to re-sight in their weapon. We'll go to the range, we'll start sighting in our weapons, and the bullets are like way over here to the left. And they'll make adjustments to their scope or whatever. You would think that all Navy SEALs would know how to sight in their gun. They don't. I'm just going to tell you that. Fun fact. And so when I would see them, they're like, there's something wrong with the gun or the scope or the sights or something. And I would just go over there and I would just make just ridiculous, unrealistic adjustments to their scope, just like make multiple turns. And they're like, what are you doing? And then I would say, okay, go ahead and shoot again. Maybe I went too far. We'll see. And so when they shoot, I definitely went too far, but they're much closer to the bullseye than they were making 2 or 3 clicks at a time. And I would just go. And then like I would make these bold adjustments. Then they could see the corrections that needed to be made. And because they were closer to the bullseye, then they could make the smaller adjustments. So using that analogy in life, if you are stuck and you want to make change, then you need to don't make little changes. There is a time to make small adjustments, but if you want to make actual change in your life, make bold adjustments. And then once you see where you are after that bold adjustment, then you can make those micro adjustments to get back right on target where you need to be.
That's so freaking interesting that you mentioned that, man. Because like last year, I kind of fell off the bandwagon with my fitness, and I was working like 80 hours a week and I was out of balance. And, you know, for the last kind of like 12, 15 years, I've been working out pretty hard, but last year I really fell off. And so one of my mates actually called me up to do the 4x4x48 challenge. And I'm like, well, that's cool. It's like 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, but I'm going to have to train to do that. So then one of my other mates called me up to do the 75 hard challenge, which is basically 75 days where you drink a gallon of water, do 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside no matter what the weather is, stick to a diet, read 10 pages of book, and take a progress photo. And that I'm actually doing that. I'm kind of in the 5th week right now. I'm doing my 4x4x48 in a couple of weeks here, but like that was like a massive shift. I knew I wasn't going to go, hey, I'm just going to go back to working out. I'm just going to go like, you know, do 3-4 CrossFit workouts a week. I need to do something massive. And by doing that massive change, you know, one of the dietary things is no alcohol. So I feel freaking amazing, man. It's had a radical shift. I'm only like 4 weeks deep, and I've literally shifted the way I am. So like that whole like not working out thing, it's gone. And it's because I'm following the advice that you're talking about here. So
make those bold adjustments and then 100% and not negotiating with yourself.
Yeah, man. So how do our freedom hackers keep the conversation going with you, mate?
I would say, I think number one, if you want to learn more about the Get Naked mindset, I would go to the number 5 SEAL Secrets, the number 5 SEAL secrets.com. Put your name and email in there, and then I will email you it's a PDF. It's a link to a PDF of these 5 SEAL secrets. It's very much the presentation that I give on stage. And just to kind of give you a little bit of insight into how that has impacted some other people's lives. When I first created this document, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. He's in the outdoor apparel industry, and he was struggling with, you know, his ex-wife. He was struggling with the CEO of the company that he works for, because they had just gotten a bunch of venture capital cash inject in the VC company. They want their money back, you know, very quickly. So they wanted to double profits quarter over quarter. And the CEO was putting all that pressure onto my buddy. And so I was like, okay, Jim, so you need to have a meeting with your CEO. You need to like talk about the, you know, near, medium, long-term goals of the company, and then come up with a plan, and then sort of, you know, plan backwards from there. And by the way, while you're at it, you know, why don't you check out my 5 SEAL secrets, give me some feedback and things like that. So he went there, he downloaded the document, he read it, then he printed it off and he laminated it, and he put it on his wall. And the next day he went into the CEO and he said, Bryce, listen, and my friend is not forward like this. He's like, Bryce, listen, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to perform for you. And so the CEO was like, what? First of all, hold on. Number 1, why are you being forward? Because you're never forward. Number 2, why are you being honest? And number 3, why are you saying you're afraid? No one does any of those things. And he was like, my buddies gave me these 5 SEAL secrets, and I'm exposing my fear right now. I'm afraid if you come at us the way that you did the other day, then I will not be able to perform for you the way that you need me to perform for you. La, 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 la. He was like, oh, can I get a copy of those 5 SEAL secrets? And so that's turned into some other speaking and coaching engagements. So that was a pretty cool feedback. So again, that website is the number 5 SEALsecrets.com to download that. And, you know, that does come from my email. So you can reply to that and say, hey, let's, you know, maybe someone wants, you know, is interested in coaching or maybe some other questions. For CBD, the website is nw-recovery.com, or you can write in Naked Warrior Recovery, all one word.com. I changed it from Naked Warrior Recovery just because I don't know if everyone wants to write the word naked into their search engine. I don't know why. It was just an epiphany I had one day. And so I changed it to NW-recovery, but you can type in Naked Warrior Recovery and it will go to the website. Beautiful. And you know what? Let's do this right now. Let's do, I'll give all of your listeners, if they want it, a discount code. Let's just go with Freedom20 to get 20% off their purchase.
Okay, so that's 20% off purchases at Naked Warrior Recovery. That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Definitely something to take advantage of. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, all of these links are going to be in the show notes too. So all you have to do is go down to the show notes, click on the links, and you'll be able to have access to all of that. We'll also have the Freedom 20 code in there as well. William, thank you so much, brother,
yes,
for being a vulnerable man, for being a real man, for being a leader, for sharing all your wisdom. You know, I wish you all the best with taking that 22-0, man. That's just a fucking monumental mission. And, you know, I'm really feeling it for you, brother. And really appreciate you. Thanks for being who you are. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here on Freedom Hack Radio,
sir.
mate.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Any final words?
I think that's it. We're gonna roll from there.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you very much. And for all of our Freedom Hackers, this is Freedom Hack Radio. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson. And until next week, live large, live free. G'day, this is Bryce Robertson. I'm your host here at Freedom Hack Radio, and I truly, truly hope that you got a ton of value out of the episode that we just shared with you. And if you did, make sure to subscribe on your YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to your favorite podcasting platform. Hit the notification button so you can find out about the next episodes as they come out. Because if you haven't achieved financial time and location freedom, you really need to be dialed in here. So make sure to subscribe and follow us along as you grow on your path to financial, time, and location freedom here at Freedom Hack Radio.